Hello and welcome to Blank Plate, a podcast for Swifties with an appetite.
I'm Sarah, and I used to be a little kid with glasses and a twin-size bed.
I'm Laura, and I'm a mess, but I'm the mess that you wanted.
And we've got a blank plate, baby, and we'll write your name. Woo!
Welcome. It's another podcast day.
It is. And for us, it's Halloween. But Halloween has already passed for our listeners.
Honestly, by this point, we might have a new president. like confirmed.
Yeah. Lord help us.
We can't talk about it. We can't talk about it.
Yeah.
I hope that when this podcast comes out, we can all feel very excited about that. But we shall see.
We shall see. Anyway, what is on our plates?
Well, I've been prepping for musical season, which starts around November, like end of November, around Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. We have auditions and callbacks, and there's a lot of excitement at the school. And it's so much to organize. It is so much pre-planning and trying to shuffle like a million people's schedules. So a lot of prepping for that. But I am excited because, like, as a theater kid, that was the best time of the year, was basically November to end of March. And now I get to pay it forward for my students. We're doing Annie Jr. Yeah, Annie Jr.
What the heck is that?
Annie?
It's like, so it's Annie, but just like for younger kids?
Yeah, so junior versions are typically between an hour and a half. They're simplified. They sometimes cut songs. They'll change the range to be a little bit more appropriate for like the middle school voices, but it's a junior version of the full show of Annie.
Okay, that's right, because you're at middle school.
Yeah, I'm at middle school. So we have 7th and 8th graders who will audition. And, there's certain shows where you could do like a regular version in middle school, but a lot of the time it's just about the length. And because middle schoolers can't drive themselves, you kind of are dependent on parents being involved in pickup. So we don't have as many rehearsal time slots as high schoolers. So we do junior versions. But yeah, a lot of like prepping for musical, a lot of meetings and organizing things. And besides that, for fun, Luke and I went on our anniversary trip to New York City and had a grand old time.
Yeah.
We stayed at a hotel that was right next to the iconic Chelsea Hotel.
Okay.
And it was cool because like we would like pretend like we're going there, but we're going to the cheap hotel that's next door. Well, as people may or may not know, Luke and I are pretty cheap when we come to our accommodations because as long as we're staying in a bed and there's no bed bugs and it's not like people are going to break in, like we'll stay there because it gets us there. Yeah. And we ate amazing food. I just have to give a shout out to like, how there's foods that you see on social media and you're like, I feel like when I get there, the hype is going to make this like, it would be fine. But like the hype makes me expect things to be so good. Mm-hmm. I had one of those rare moments where you go to a restaurant or a food location and it actually over exceeded all the hype. So it probably is a cliche at this point, but if people are going to New York, you should definitely add pop-up bagels to your itinerary. So pop-up bagels is different because they make like only regular size bagels, but they sell like quarts of flavored cream cheeses and like hot, fresh out the oven, fresh out the boiler, like these bagels that come out hot and you're supposed to rip and dunk them into the cream cheese. And that's all they do. That they don't make artisanal coffees. They don't make it's just that. And they do it so like the bagels were out of this world.
Yeah.
So that was a huge
combination
win.
What did you have?
We went with, they normally have like a special collaboration with different people. So I've seen like they had like a cacio e pepe cream cheese ones. They've had like cinnamon swirl ones, but we just got classic everything bagel, scallion cream cheese. We got a sesame bagel. They think you can get like 3, and they're not huge bagels. I said they were normal, but they're a little smaller than normal. And yeah, they were amazing. Like hot, you know, like a good bagel, like is so like it springs. It has like such a pull to it. We talk about that with our Feast of St. Pizza that we do, but the perfect bagel, like delicious. Yeah. So highly recommend.
That's awesome.
What's Sounds on really your good. Plate?
Yeah. Well, I did not go to New York City, but I did go to Cleveland, or more specifically Lakewood, Ohio, which is right outside of Cleveland, to visit my gay ex-husband and his gay ass family.
Hello, Corneliuses.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Josh could not come with me because these last few weekends leading up to the election are like crunch time. So he had a couple events going on. But it was my sister-in-law's birthday weekend. So it was just like a perfect time for me to go. So I was like, if I can go, I'm going to go. Yeah. And it was so fun. I had seen most of them like a couple times, like Robert, my ex-husband, I had seen him like back in February when we did I did a farewell party for my house before I moved. So some of them came to that and stuff, but I got to see his parents and I hadn't seen them in like almost 2 years, which was crazy. So it was really nice to visit with them and his grandma. But I was laughing to myself because at my sister-in-law's birthday party at her house, it was like such a cast of characters and it was a costume party and stuff. And so there were like a handful of people I had never met before. They were just friends of hers from the area. And at one point, a couple of them were talking about a couple places in Cleveland Heights, and they kept mentioning Cleveland Heights. And it took everything in me not to just blurt out, like, that's where the Kelsey brothers are from.
They're like, we know.
Right? And I'm like kind of mad that I didn't just like do a little mini excursion to Cleveland Heights just to like say that I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was funny. But yeah, it was really nice. It's like a 6-hour road trip out there. So just, you know, listen to some podcasts, listen to some music. And speaking of music, I wanted to shout out the album I'm really into this week is Kelsey Ballerini's new album called Patterns. And she is one of Taylor's besties in the country music scene. And I've been like a growing fan of Kelsey's. I really love her EP called Rolling Up the Welcome Mat. Like that is definitely my favorite thing of hers. But this new album is like a close second for me to that. So if you like that kind of like country pop side of Taylor, and if you like, you know, like the Casey Musgraves kind of thing, then definitely check it out. It's really good. So
yeah, I haven't listened yet, but I've heard good things. So that's exciting. Yeah, I'll have to give it a listen.
Good. Yeah.
Can you share our very sweet email? Unless you have anything else to share.
No. Yeah. So we got a really sweet email from a listener that we wanted to share on here. And I got to say, like, we expected to get some random Swifties, you know, finding us and listening to this podcast. But this demographic is not what I expected.
In the best way.
Yeah. In the best way. Okay. So this is from Richard. Shout out to Richard. We love you.
We love Richard.
He sent us this sweet email. He says, I'm sure that many older adults, older as in quotation marks, older adults with daughters started downloading Taylor version albums because they wanted her re-recording project to be an unbelievable financial success. After all, everyone wants a bully to be embarrassed and defeated. In all honesty, I never planned on listening to any of the albums. Pick your stereotypical male reason for not listening to Taylor Swift, and it will sadly hit the mark. On a whim, I watched the Folklore Long Pond Sessions video on Disney+. I was converted from financial supporter to curious fan. I was amazed at the beauty of her poetry and her ability to explain the images and feelings that inspired her on each song. Sadly, I am late to the party. However, I am sure that the thoughts and opinions you share on your podcast will help me become a more knowledgeable Taylor Swift fan. P.S. I blame my 34-year-old daughter for not exposing me to Taylor's music earlier. When Taylor's career started, my daughter was in her goth phase, and her favorite t-shirt said, "Boys are stupid, throw rocks at them." I thought it was hilarious, but the middle school boy moms were offended, rightfully so, and the t-shirt was banned from school. Hope you enjoy creating your podcast as much as I benefit from listening to it. Best regards, Richard.
Richard!
How great is that?
Literally could make me cry. Like, that is so sweet. Also, like, I feel so honored that someone would want to write in and share that. But also, like, I forget that, like, sometimes we are the Swiftie, like, news for people, which is so cool.
Right.
You know, there's people who do this full time. We do this, you know, for fun as friends. But
yeah,
I think it's so awesome that, Richard, that you wrote in, and also that you just like supported from the jump anyway with the Taylor's version. That's so awesome. That shows how incredible you are as a dad.
Yeah.
So, Richard, we love you.
Yes.
Truly.
That was so sweet. So yeah, thank you, Richard. Also, I wanted to mention when you were talking about musical season, have you seen this video of little baby Taylor floating around online right now? She's 11 years old and she sings a Leanne Rimes song on stage with some country singer, I guess. But Travis liked the video, which everyone's pointing out. But if you watch the video of little baby 11-year-old Taylor, like, her voice is so good. Her stage presence is incredible. Like, she's not just standing there stiff, you know, holding the mic, but also singing beautifully. Like, she's singing, but she's interacting with the audience. Like, you can see Eras Tour Taylor. Like, you can see the foundations of it there.
I mean, we've talked about this. Like, she just has a star quality. Like, when I watched clips of her playing Maria in The Sound of Music as a child, I was like, okay, pop off, theater queen. Like, she has something special. Like, and it's amazing to see that. Like, I teach kids, you know, around that age, and you just think, like, maybe one day they'll be like a mega performer. Like, is the next Taylor Swift. And I have teachers who actually taught Taylor Swift in my building. Do you know that?
No.
I have 2 teachers who had Taylor before she moved to Nashville in middle school.
Oh.
And one teacher, I don't think she'll mind that I tell you the story. She said that in middle school, in 7th grade, she had her for math class, and she basically was not super popular, but everyone kind of like thought she was kind of an oddball because she literally was just like, yeah, I'm going to be famous. She just like declared it. Like, I'm gonna make country music and I'm going to be famous. And everybody was like, okay, like, cool.
Yeah.
But the fact that she literally has the manifestation powers as like what an 11-year-old is crazy, but let's go.
Yeah.
She obviously believed in
she
herself. So
was good at math because of all of her numerology stuff. Or if that's like a different part of her brain, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think she was a pretty good student from what my coworkers have said. So, but they were saying like, you know, like you would think someone like Taylor Swift would be really popular. They're like, she wasn't super popular. She had friends, but like a lot of us teachers were kind of put off by her because she would say like, no, I'm going to be famous. Like, and they were like, okay, cool. Like, yeah. But well, for real,
right.
Yeah, she wasn't wrong. Oh anyway, it is fascinating to think like, yeah, I teach so many students. Is one of them going to be like the next Sabrina Carpenter or something like that? Like that would be insane. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of tour and Eras Tour Taylor, we have some Taylor updates.
Yes, which the tour kicked back up again.
Yeah, and like, okay, obviously, Reputation did not happen.
No.
But we got that Rep bodysuit, baby. We got that gold Rep bodysuit. You know that when she walked out on the stage for the first time wearing that, she had to know in the back of her mind the power that she had in that moment.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
She knows all of us are being like, we're just totally gagged because we're like, look, it's changed.
Yeah. Well, at the time, I think we were texting with Rebecca, but like Josh and I were watching Love is Blind, but then I got the Swift alert notification that Reputation was about to start. So I was like, hold on, we have to pause this. I need to at least watch the rep set start in case her bodysuit is new or, you know, her outfit changed. And so then I'm watching and I'm like, oh my God, it is new. And it took a while to be able to tell, especially on the live stream when you're watching on the phone. And then, you know, our group chat just like blew up and Josh was like, what is going on with you guys?
The rain. Rebecca and I were watching the same stream because she sent me the link to it. And this stream was impeccable because it was pretty much like a close up of the like cameras that they have on her. Yeah. And when she did Look What You Made Me Do in the Rain, I was like, which confirmation? The Rain was a paid actor.
Yeah.
Like,
I wish I had
she
been
was beyond
that part.
It was so good. I was there. It was rare. I was on a live stream, but it was beautiful. Truly special.
Don't you wish that we had like appreciated the rep set more when we were there, when we saw it?
Yeah, we blew it. We blew it.
I feel like there's something about this tour that like it has become, well, I mean, it has become better because she's gotten better. But like it's, I feel like there is something about like knowing so well what's going to happen that kind of makes you lock in even more to it. Because like when you're just experiencing it for the first time, it's kind of like overwhelming. Yeah. When you already have a sense of it and you can just lock into the little details and stuff. Like that's why I wish we could go again.
I know. We won't. But
we won't.
I know. Yeah.
We won't.
And like she has changed a couple other things, like new outfits here and there. But like ultimately, this is not the shock that was Paris Night 1 when she, you know, unveiled the TTPD set. Right. But ultimately, I think we're just in our gratitude season when it comes to Swifties because we're realizing that the tour is close to done.
Yeah.
And every night I feel like I'm just savoring like any stupid thing that happens. I'm like, oh, she did a little kick off this. She looked like she has water off of her dress. Great. Well, I gotta appreciate that. Like it's so crazy because it's the same thing every single time. But now we're in our gratitude era because it's not gonna last forever, people.
No. Well, we did get to see when the Roomba broke the one night.
Yes.
And she had to improvise, which it's unclear because they did it so well. It seems like they might have rehearsed, you know, a plan B in case the Roomba wasn't working. But either way, like she really did not miss a beat. And when she was just walking down the stage like an unhinged, you know, insane asylum patient. Yeah. While singing, like, it's like this woman is a professional.
Absolutely. Yeah. She has plan B's, C's, and D's, I'm sure, for every situation. But the Roomba is something we'll talk about later because our episode today is about Down Bad, which also uses the Roomba. So save that thought for later.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, other like predictions, like what are we thinking? Like, we only have a couple more. Go ahead.
I was of the mind that Reputation is next and then Taylor Swift. Like, take back her reputation and then take back her name. And it just seemed very full circle to like have the debut album be the last one she takes back. It also has like the least amount of commercial value, you know? So for it to like not be Taylor's version for longer. But so the first weekend in Miami, especially the first night, she had a lot of new like teal blue outfits, like a new Fearless dress with blue on it, which makes zero sense. And then in her
Yes.
thank you post for Miami, she specifically called out her outfits, which she also keeps doing now. She keeps saying, "Oh, you like my new dress? Like, thank you for noticing.
You like my new dress?"
Yeah. And like, she's calling it out, basically being like, pay attention to my outfits. And so people are saying that this blue color is more of like a debut thing. So now I'm like, maybe debut is coming before rep. And then I was, okay, well, first of all, I heard someone talking about it, how her order so far has been to like do, like she's bopping around. Nothing is in order, right? So Fearless was first. That's number 2. Then she went to Red, which is number 4. Then she went back to number 3 for Speak Now. Then she went ahead to number 5, which is 1989. So it doesn't make sense to then go to 6, which is Reputation. It makes more sense to go back to 1 and then 6, right? And then also with the whole Horcrux thing, where in her Time interview, she said that it's like she's collecting Horcruxes. And then people have been saying the last 2 Horcruxes are, and this is from Harry Potter, the last 2 Horcruxes are Harry Potter himself and then the snake. Yes. So debut and Reputation. And then I was like, well, which order are they collected in the books? And Harry is collected before the snake. So I was like, this basically confirms for me that it's going to be debut first and Reputation last.
That Time magazine Horcrux thing is not to be overlooked. I am in total agreement. Okay, another thing that a lot of people are pointing out about debut coming out first is we've noticed that Taylor has worn a ton of plaid. Right? We've seen her street looks. We've seen her on the red carpet wearing plaid. But now, if you notice, in the back of the Lover House in the Eras Tour, the debut room, which is green, is plaid. The wallpaper is plaid, which that is an interesting tidbit. And I don't think anyone really clocked that until I think Miami. People were like, hold on a second. Why have we not noticed that debuts room is plaid? So also, I don't know.
One video I saw about that is that I think in the actual Lover music video, the green room for debut there's a patterned wallpaper, but it's not plaid. Right. I think it got changed to plaid for the Lover House in the back of the Eras Tour visual. Yes. And also, like, if you think about it, like, I am excited for a debut to be re-recorded because that's going to have the most improvement of any album. But, like, when you think about, like, Should Have Said No and Picture to Burn, like, I mean, they're kind of like pop punk songs.
Yeah. I mean, not to mention... Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Those are like pop punk songs, country pop punk songs, but with the right production could be any emo pop punk song you could ever imagine. Right. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. I think I got to throw my other 2 cents in here. People who are claiming that debutation is happening, you need to stop. She would never do debutation.
No.
Which, okay, like, first of all, we know that Taylor loves her rankings and her, you know, she's a capitalist queen. We know. There's no way that she would drop both at the same time, especially knowing that Reputation is probably one of her most anticipated re-records. Yeah. There's no way that she's going to just, like, mesh the 2 together. Each one needs to have its moment. Like, I think... anyone who's saying that it's going to be both, I think like it's a little delusional. We know her habits. We know how she rolls out an album, and it's not like that.
And Reputation has such a vibe and and energy and like aesthetic to it. So it's like, you can't just lump debut in with that.
And do you think she's really going to like gloss over her first album? She's just going to like gloss over that? No, like each one deserves its time. Like, let's be real. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's be logical.
Right.
I mean, I do think that anyone. I mean, it's a lovely. I think the idea of having both by the end of the tour is lovely. But now, as the clock is ticking, it's not happening. I've lost hope. It's not happening.
No, I think that it's possible she could maybe announce something like the last show or the last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But then we also have the December 13th date, which is technically after the tour ends.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what's happening there? I could see her maybe announcing debut on her birthday.
Yeah.
Maybe. I was going to say
I realized that this is one of the first falls that we've had in a long time without new Taylor. Like, we had Red, we had Midnights, we've had 1989. Like, we've been spoiled. Yeah. We've been totally spoiled.
Well, and I think that's why, like, Taylor does love the fall. Because she just had, like, in the 1 week of October was, like, 4 anniversaries of her albums. Yeah. It's Red. Speak Now, I think, was originally released in October. And then 1989, Taylor's version, was released on the same day that it was originally released.
Yep.
And I was, oh my God, on the live stream, the one night, the anniversary of 1989, before she played her piano song, she started talking. And I was like, oh my God. Because usually she announces stuff
normally she goes.
And a lot of times she doesn't talk before the piano song. She just goes into it and you're like, okay, I guess nothing's happening. She started talking and she was talking about 1989 being 10 years old. I was like, oh my God, are we getting the double album? Are we getting the dark, like
the city vibe
version of 1989? And then, no, she just played a 1989 mashup.
And you're like, okay, Taylor, all right. We forgive you.
Yeah. Related to all this, kind of, I just have to say, listening to the New Heights podcast is always important research because there's always something to be gleaned. Okay. There's always a little nugget. And so when they were talking about the Miami nights, because Jason and Kylie and I think 2 of their daughters were there with Mama Kelsey the first night. And he was like, he apparently texted Travis, who Travis said he had major FOMO, which of course he did. But he texted Travis like halfway through, like during the rep set. And he was like, yo, Tay is killing it in this rain or whatever. And he was like, oh, she came out in this new bodysuit. And Travis goes, was it gold? And I feel like the way he says that implies that there are other new ones. Because
100%.
Right?
100%.
Unless it was just like,
why would you? Now, Travis, you know she's been wearing red,
right?
Okay, so if you're
like
implying that
is it like
gold,
it's like he knows there's maybe one other one, but gold was going to be first. So he's like, was it gold? You know,
right?
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into that.
Well, there's also been an image that's been going around the internet of Taylor with her snake rings. One is red. One is gold and one is silver. So,
so maybe a silver one is still coming. I don't know. But then also, so people were wondering if maybe like a So High School Music video was coming and kind of related to all the plaid and everything. Well, on this week of New Heights, they had on Niecy Nash, Travis's co-star from Grotesquerie. And she was like complaining about his mustache, which he has now shaved off. And he said at one point, he's like, who knows, maybe I was, had it for a different role. And he said it in this like little winky face kind of way, like, maybe I need it for another role. Who knows? So maybe he was growing it out for a music video with Taylor, you know?
Interesting.
So that's possible. I mean, a So High School Music video as like her like being the cheerleader, maybe, flipping from You Belong With Me, where she's not the cheerleader, but then her boyfriend is the football player and it's Travis. I don't know. Also, what if it's like campy and silly?
I feel like it would be. I feel like they'd lean into like the Happy Gilmore of it all. Like I love that Adam Sandler is such a big fan. Like Adam Sandler's been on New Heights. Like I feel like they'd lean into like the campiness of it. If they were to do one, I think they'd be like slow motion, like like football field,
right?
Yeah, goofiness. I feel like is what they lean into. But that's just whatever. We have gone on for like a half an hour and we haven't even talked about our song yet.
All right, it's time.
You guys. Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about Down Bad, which is the fourth track on the Tortured Poets Department, released April 19th, 2024, written by Taylor and Jack Antonoff, and also produced by Taylor and Jack Antonoff. Yeah. So we got a Jack song.
What was your first read? Another Jack. What was your first read on this song?
I really liked it. Like, I feel like it's one of those Taylor songs that it's very easy to know it right away. You know, like you can sing along with it like the first time you hear it.
Yeah.
And I loved it right away. What did you think?
I kind of remember us like bopping and be like, down, bad, crying at the gym. And I'm thinking like, what a classic Taylor moment that we have a classic depressed bop.
Right.
Okay. Like, I'm miserable, but this song is an absolute bop. Like, I'm depressed, here we are. We're having the best time of our life. But yeah, like my initial read, after our first listen was that it was one of my early favorites. And I think the Roomba with the Eras Tour is something else I associate with this song. Like the way that they stylized this on the Eras Tour is so cool. Like, I think they did such an excellent job. But yeah, I feel like the more I listen to this song, the more I realize like Taylor is so like, she's so brilliant with the way that she words things and titles things because, being down bad means that you're like obsessed. Like I'm like so down bad. Like I'm obsessed with this person. But also she's turned this around to be like, now I'm down bad. Like I'm completely fallen apart. I'm down bad. Which is kind of like the whole moral of this song, which is like, you were obsessed with this person and now you're absolutely a mess. So I love that. So I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. I also think it's brilliant in the way that, like, how did she manage to create a song that does make you like bop to it, but you can also picture yourself bopping to it while crying? Like being at the gym, maybe you have your gym playlist on, but you're also crying. I don't know how she did that. This is where her musical genius comes in. I'm not sure how she did it. And I would say it is one of my favorites as well. But I'm also a little bit plagued by the problem of it being kind of like a single from this album where like everyone loves it. It's like popular on TikTok and it's this like one of her more poppy songs. And for some reason, when that happens with me, I don't feel as connected to it because it doesn't feel personal to me like her other songs.
See, I think I've said this before. I think that Taylor's singles are sometimes her worst songs. Meaning, worst on a scale of like, I still really like her music, but like not my favorite songs ever. Like she's never picking my favorite song to be a single. This is one that I wouldn't mind being like chosen for a music video. This is one that I'm like, I get it. I totally understand it. I think this is a great choice, but I feel that way about So High School. So like, I get it. I get why people like the Travis of it all, but I'm just like, okay. Like, can we get another one? But I understand it. Yeah. Can we also just talk about, she literally wrote a song with like an alien abduction metaphor? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go off.
Yeah. So like the whole backstory is, let's talk about this voice note clip that she said, we don't have that, so I'm going to read it out loud. It says,
Mm-hmm.
the metaphor in Down Bad is that I was comparing sort of the idea of being love bombed, where somebody rocks your and dazzled your world and then kind of abandons you. This girl is abducted by aliens, but she wanted to stay with them. And then when they drop her off in her hometown, she's like, wait, no, where are you going? I liked it there. But it was weird and it was not, but it was weird, but it was cool. Come back. And so the girl and the character in the song felt like I've just been exposed to a whole different galaxy and universe, and I didn't know that was possible. How could you just put me back where I was before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm really glad that she did release that. That came out like right around the time of release. I think it was like an iHeart radio thing or something. But most of us did not catch this metaphor. So then when she explained it, we were like, oh,
yeah,
she really did write a song about being abducted by aliens and then having them put her back on Earth. But it is a great metaphor for what she's talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
It's also about like kind of being in denial, like, because there's so much like self-talk where she's down bad, but she's also like reassuring herself that this even happened, period. Because like, imagine if you were abducted by aliens, everyone's going to deny the fact that that's real. They think you're crazy. Yeah. And she's like honestly reassuring herself that it happened, period. Almost like all too well. Like I was there. I remember it. Like it's this need to like explain why she's so bad, why she's so down bad, but also like she obviously knows this wasn't a good relationship. But yeah, it's a metaphor of a toxic love bombing, ghosting situation, but also aliens. Like, okay.
Do you think that Taylor is a fan of the SNL sketch with Ryan Gosling and Kate McKinnon where they were abducted by aliens? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I know exactly which one you're talking about. I think absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't help but think about that in this. Plus also it's like Ryan Gosling and the other woman, who I'm sorry, I can't think of her name, are talking about like how like wonderful it was. Yeah. And then
like and that's the thing like, she's what? Saying.
Yeah, totally.
But like that's like she's saying like I was exposed to these galaxies and like you don't even understand, like it was so amazing and now I'm back here.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. This song.
Oh, another interesting tidbit. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say this song also feels a little bit like Stockholm Syndrome. And Stockholm Syndrome is, it happens when hostages or abuse victims form emotional bonds with their captors. This surprising response can result from extreme stress and fear, leading to unexpected sympathy and loyalty. So it's like, in this metaphor, you know, the person who love bombed you and actually treated you so poorly. But you're like, no, I love them. It was wonderful. I want it back. It's like, no, girl, no, you don't.
Yep. No, you don't.
What were you going to say?
No, you don't. So I love when Jack Antonoff drops tea. Like, I love it. Especially with timelines. He's done this before with us so Jack Antonoff shared that Down Bad was recorded on June 29th, 2023, because she was seen coming in and out of Electric Lady Studios wearing a very like recognizable white and red corset top, and she looks miserable. Like she looks terrible. She looks down bad. Like for real. So if that's the date, if it's June 29th, right? We know that this is immediately after Matty and Taylor broke up, because news of them breaking up was publicized on June 5th. So this is like weeks after it was publicly announced that they were done. So we know this is about Matty. Like,
also, she gets right in that studio. She does not waste any time.
Like, is it therapy for her? Like, for real?
Yeah.
Like, anything 100%. Traumatic happens, she's like, to Electric Lady Studios.
Yes.
Like for real.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God. Well, let's dive into all of the lyrics and stuff. Let's get started here.
Okay, here is verse 1. Yeah.
showed me that this world is bigger than us, then sent me back where I came from. For a moment I knew cosmic love.
All right. So I do remember when this song started with that little
Yeah.
and you and I were like, okay, Jack, what are you doing on this one?
Jack got in the studio. He was like, how do I make this sound like an alien sonar? He was like, wait, we want to talk about aliens? I'm on it. Like, I'm sure he was stoked about it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, the first lyric here is, did you really beam me up in a cloud of sparkling dust just to do experiments on?
Yeah.
Like, she was not lying about this alien abduction metaphor.
No, like, beam me up, Scotty.
Right.
Star Trek, hello, like, whatever this thing is. I don't know anything about Star Trek. I don't know anything. I'm sorry. Sorry,
Neither
Star
do
Trek
I.
fans. Don't know anything. But I do know Beam Me Up, Scotty. I do know that. But, okay. To do experiments on was interesting to me because it immediately reminded me of the Fortnight music video where she's in the straitjacket and there's two scientists doing experiments on her.
Yeah.
Right? Like, immediately I was like, oh, yeah, like, that's a callback to Fortnight music video.
Yeah, plus she did say how in the Fortnite music video kind of, she said it felt like it like encompassed like a lot of the themes and stuff of this album. And
that's
really
a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sentiment is like, was this real for you or were you just playing around, and having fun?
Yeah.
And that made me think of the beginning of the bridge from The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. So let's listen to that.
Here's that.
Were you sent by someone who wanted me dead? Did you sleep with a gun underneath our bed? Were you writing a book? Were you a sleeper cell spy? In 50 years will all this be declassified?
If you're not watching on YouTube, I just did a whole performance.
Laura just did a very nice performance, but also on my end, you're also all pixelated and like choppy with the connection over our recording thing here.
When you edit this, you're gonna be like a masterpiece.
Oh my god!
Wow,
so good.
Sorry, I can't help myself. That bridge is so good. The bridge is made to be acted. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It just reminded me of that. Like, did you do all this just to like do experiments on me and throw me back out? It reminds me of, were you sent by someone who wanted me dead? Did you sleep with a gun underneath our bed? Were you writing a book? Were you a sleeper cell spy? In 50 years, will all this be declassified? Like, what the hell?
It's paranoia. Yeah, it's for real.
Well, also the whole declassified thing. Wasn't there just some whole alien thing that the U.S. government declassified?
Yeah, when was that? That was 2020, I think.
It happened at a time when so much was going on. We were all like, we don't even care.
Yeah.
We don't even care now.
Oh, we were like, oh, so aliens are real? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Moving on.
Right.
Yeah. I think another alien tidbit, and I mentioned this in like our production notes, but I think we should talk about it now. Like that that to me sounds like such like a sonar alien, like scientific experiment sound that Jack had a lot of fun with. I noticed that happens under the undercurrent of the early part of this verse. Like it still is like an echo. It's very faint in the background, and it disappears at the choruses, which is kind of symbolic of being like, like you're remembering like all this like dreamy cosmic love, like you hear all these sounds and you have all these images of like how perfect it was, but then flashback to the chorus where it's literally, I'm back in reality. Now I'm down bad crying at the gym. Like the stark reality of being one place to reality, which is and also genius.
The effect of it fading away is like the ship is literally getting farther away. So like if the ship is making that noise, then it left her behind, and then eventually you can't hear it anymore.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So speaking
when they
of,
do little things like
here
that.
is the chorus.
All right.
Totally. Here's the chorus.
Now I'm down bad, crying at the gym. Everything comes out, teenage petulance. Fuck it if I can't have him. I might just die, it would make no difference. Down bad, waking up in blood. Staring at the sky, come back and pick me up. Fuck it if I can't have us. I might just not get up, I might stay down bad. Fuck it if I can't have him. Down bad. Fuck it if I can't have him.
I can't help myself but talk about the production. Like, did you hear like that robotic layer underneath her voice when she's singing?
What do you mean?
Otherworldly. Like underneath the melody of her voice, there's like this synthesized robotic layer underneath.
It's like one of her layered vocals that has an effect on it.
All right, here we go.
Waking up in blood, staring at the sky, come back and pick me up. Fuck it if I can't have us. I might just not get up, I might stay down bad. Fuck it if I can't have him. Down bad.
I do hear it.
Little details. It's good stuff.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. Also, I want to shout out for this part here. So my one boss's daughter is a big Swiftie, and she was in the office one day, and I was like asking how she was liking the new album, and I asked what her favorite song was, and then her dad goes, the one with the language. And
this
then
one.
I realized it was this one. Yeah, it's all the F-bombs in this one. Yeah, and she's like 9. So
there is a clean version, to be fair.
I know. Yeah.
What if I can't have us?
When I hear these clean versions, it's like a jump scare. Like when someone uses it on TikTok, I'm like, what is this song? Get out of here.
Like, this is not the song. Yeah.
No.
We need the F-bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
It's important.
Okay. Can we talk about how real the lyric, "Now I'm down bad crying at the gym" is?
Yeah.
She's so real. Like,
yeah.
It's okay. Metaphorically, she went from alien abduction, celestial goodness, sparkling dust, cosmic love to doing normal human things that are so mundane and people dread, like going to the gym. Okay. Mm-hmm. Which is like enough to make anyone cry. But like, you're remembering this love that is no longer with you because they ghosted. And then realistically, this is also our signal that Taylor is doing it with a broken heart. She's going to the gym. She's chugging along like she normally is because she has to. And like, but under the surface, she's crying at the gym. Like,
right. Yeah. I know.
Poor girl.
I also love the line, "Everything comes out teenage petulance." She think of this like childish, bad temper, being sulky and irritable. But it also really reminds me of the song, "But Daddy, I Love Him." Because that whole song to me feels like the teenage petulance. Like it's just a little lyric in this song. But to me, I immediately think of "But Daddy, I Love Him." It's like, oh, that's another piece of this story. That song is her writing about the teenage petulance. But she's just referencing it in this song. And this is where like the whole album ties together in these beautiful little ways, you know?
Yeah. It's a interwoven story, but like "Daddy, I Love Him" is like that teenage, irritable, I'm smarter than all of you. I know what's better. You don't know what's good for me. Like, fuck it if I can't have him. Like, I don't care. Like, if I can't have him, my world is ruined. Like, that is such a teenage thing to think. Mm-hmm. And it has similar vibes in "Daddy, I Love Him." Like, that's the moral of what she's trying to say. Yeah. Oh, also, like, the line, I might just die, it would make no difference, is a callback to this line from the Tortured Poets Department.
Sometimes I wonder if you're gonna screw this up with me. But you told Lucy you'd kill yourself if I ever leave. And I had said that to Jack about you, so I felt seen.
Which is like, she literally is saying, I will kill myself if we don't end up together. Yeah. Which is, I might just die. It would make no difference. Like,
also, I just want to say, if all of this is truly about Matty Healy, like we know it to be, okay, alleged, but we know.
Alleged.
If he said to Lucy that he would kill himself if Taylor ever left, but then in his interview that he just did, he referred to this as a casual romantic liaison. Like, fuck all the way off.
That interview gave me such an ick because I would have more respect for him if he was just like, I know that a lot of people want me to write about this romantic relationship I was in. I'm not doing it. I would have much more respect if it was that. But to say it's a romantic, casual, he used the word casual so many times in that yeah, like, excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
Play Casual by Chaperone.
Yeah. Like, putting the ring on her middle finger on the one that people put wedding rings on, talking rings and talking cradles. Like, I don't think that's casual, sir. Anyway.
No. Yeah.
Allegedly.
So. Alleged.
Alleged. For real.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
But yeah, in general, I think this song is so good about illustrating that feeling that you have after something ends that you ultimately know is bad for you, but you are still in the thick of wanting it and missing it, like before your head clears, and you're like, "Woohoo! Okay, that wasn't good. I'm glad that ended." You know, like, what was I thinking? But this is the immediate aftermath of it ending, and you're like, "No, wait, I want it. Come back."
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's giving denial. It's giving delusion. It's giving, like, we haven't coped with, we're not at the anger phase yet. We're not at acceptance. Like, we're in the thick of it. Like, for
this
real.
is a Delulu song.
Delulu. All right, here we go. Verse 2.
Did you take all my old clothes just to leave me here naked and alone? In a field in my same old town that somehow seems so hollow now. They'll say I'm nuts if I talk about the existence of you. For a moment I was heaven struck.
It's so hard not to go to the chorus.
I know. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So the beginning of this, where she says, "Did you take all my old clothes just to leave me here naked and alone?" makes me think of the Black Dog.
Yeah, let me play that.
Yeah.
Now I wanna sell my house and set fire to all my clothes.
Yeah. Which I think the contrast here is interesting, where she's saying, "Did you take my clothes from me?" Whereas in the Black Dog, she's like, "Please burn all my clothes. I don't want them."
Yeah.
So it's like, in this situation, the rug was pulled out from under her and she's like confused, versus wanting to burn all of her clothes herself to like rid herself of the memories and the feelings.
Right. This is like, I am now exposed because you took things from me. You did this.
Embarrassed me.
Yes.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Which I love. Like, have you seen like the memes or, the videos where people are like, if I was Taylor Swift and I got ghosted by Matty Healy, I would not write a 31 song album about it. I would go to prison. I would do something, or people are like, I would take that information to my grave. but Taylor Swift is like, I'm going to give you 31 songs, the majority of which are about how I dated this man for a couple months and he ghosted me and made me feel insane. Welcome
I swear, therapy to the Electric Lady Studios.
Right? Almost like real. She's a superhero.
Yeah. My God. Okay. So I like that you called out in a field in my same old town that somehow seems so hollow now. You related it to this lyric from This Is Me Trying.
Flashback and a film reel on the one screen in my town.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I just made another callback. Go ahead.
What? Oh, okay.
A flashback in a film reel in the one screen in my town. You cinephile in black and white. Film reel in my town. In a field in my same old town.
That seems so hollow now. Yeah. This is why we're crazy.
I know. I know.
We have this like encyclopedic knowledge, so we can be like, doot, doot. Okay, this song, just like
I am the woman of that meme with the math in my head. Like that is being a Swiftie in a nutshell, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it just reminded me of that. Like it's a little bit of a different idea, but kind of similar of, and This Is Me Trying. It's like, I'm in like this place where there's memories of you all around, in this little town. But then in this one, it's like, I'm back here without you. And now this place just seems really empty and lame. So it's like kind of similar, but a little different.
Yeah. But it's still that feeling of like, this was once magical and now it's hollow. Like I'm trying my best to like, everyone's at this party. I feel like an open wound. It's hard to be anywhere. Like, cause all I keep thinking about is this situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Down bad crying at the gym.
For real. And like, how could you settle for anything less than this like extraterrestrial out of this world love when you know it exists, you've experienced it, but now you're back here in this normal American town. And like, I mean, I think like I mentioned, the alien abductees like are called insane because like, we're like, okay, like you're delusional. But like, imagine if you did experience that and like, you're like, no, believe me, like this is real. Like this actually happened. Like you're kind of like being gaslit.
Yeah. This line, they'll say I'm nuts if I talk about the existence of you. Which, you can take very literally in this like alien abduction metaphor. But for me, this line also like really points to the way the media and the fandom, like including us, talked about her relationship with him. Like, for example, like I fully had no idea until this album was released how seriously she was into this man. Like I was like, this is just a rebound fling.
Yeah, Sarah's like, this is not serious. I was like, this is serious. This is very serious.
Yeah. I was like, there's no way that she's serious about this man.
He was playing at her show, at the show we were at. Like, we were in Philly night one, and he played with Phoebe Bridgers, and I said, oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Anyway, but yeah, a lot of people had no idea. Yeah. Like, a lot of people didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, so, like, the thought that if she actually talks about how she feels now that this has ended. First of all, it was quite short, right? So there's like that aspect, but also the person it's about, right? So it's like, they'll say I'm nuts if I talk about the existence of you.
Yeah.
Like there's no way Taylor Swift is so hung up on this man, so it's like, she's feeling all these feelings and is also like, I can't even really talk about this because, or show this,
Yeah.
Because people won't believe me. They really won't believe me about how intense this was.
Even if it was a short time, people don't understand like how crazy it was. Yeah. Also, the last line, And also, for a moment, I was heaven struck. Also, for a moment, I knew Cosmic Love reminded me of the Stevie Nicks prologue poem in her album, which reads, well, here's a section of it. She was just flying through the clouds where he saw her. She was just making her way to the stars when he lost her. Like, so I imagine like celestial, like stars and like heaven struck, and like he lost her. He just like abandoned her there. It was just like, bye.
Yeah.
Zoom off in my alien spaceship.
Yeah. That's a good callback there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Chorus two.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Now I'm down bad, crying at the gym. Everything comes out, teenage petulance. Fuck it if I can't have him. I might just die, it would make no difference. Down bad, waking up in blood. Staring at the sky, come back and pick me up. Fuck it if I can't have us. I might just not get up, I might stay down bad. Like I lost my twin. Fuck it if I can't have him. Down bad, waving at the ship. Fuck it if I can't have him.
Ugh.
It is a good little bop.
I also, like, we know in But Daddy, I Love Him, Taylor's mad at us.
Yeah.
Like,
Mom's mad.
Mom's mad, like, understandable. Like, that is crossing a parasocial boundary. Like, what people did was not okay. But like living in like putting like being so stubborn that you're like, fuck it if I can't have him. Like I'd rather die. I'd rather die. Like in front of an enormous fandom. Imagine how that feels. Like she was publicly seen out with him, and he embarrassed her by literally ghosting. And she's just like feet in the mud, just like, I'm down bad. I'm crying at the gym. Like, it's teenage petulance. I feel like such a child. I feel exposed. Like, imagine how that felt. Like, not okay.
Not cool, man.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
I also said...
about the line, I might stay down bad. You have a note about that.
So, like, I just might not get up. I might stay down bad. Instead of being like... I'm going to overcome this. Like, I'm strong. It's like, no, I really just want to stew in this feeling of being depressed, which like we've all been there. We've all been like, I will move on eventually. But right now I'm sitting in this feeling of being depressed. I'm just going to stay down bad. Like,
I'm going to wallow. Yeah,
I'm going to wallow. Okay. The twin line, like I lost my twin.
Right.
This is a treasure trove.
Right. We have a couple lyrics that we pulled from other songs that kind of, go along with this twin idea.
Yeah. So this, go ahead. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, it's okay. The first one is from All Too Well, 10-minute version. Famous line.
Yep.
And did the twin flame bruise paint you blue?
We know that's
Twin
about
flame
Jake.
bruise.
We know.
Yeah. Also, that song also has twin fire signs for Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
Wait. No. Is that from State of Grace? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I could have sworn
twin fire signs. Yeah.
Hold on a second. I have to double check this. Give me 1 second.
She's Googling.
Shout out to the Taylor Swift lyric searcher, which I use all the time.
Yeah. It's a great resource.
Yeah. It's State of Grace. It's the twin fire signs for Blue Eyes. But the other mention of twin from All Too Well is the twin size bed.
Yeah.
Which, which is my little tagline at the beginning of our podcast.
A twin size bed.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, being a twin tortured poet, like someone who is, you're kind of like twin flame in that, like, you are both these songwriters, you're both these poets, these lyricists, and like you understand each other at a deeper level. You're not Dylan Thomas, I'm not Patti Smith, but like
yeah. And then there's also in It's Time to Go. There's a twin mention in that song.
Yep.
In fact, what she seemed, not a twin from your dreams. She's a crook who was caught.
Which we can assume is about Carly.
Isn't that more about like someone that her, like the narrator's lover is like cheating with?
I always read it as Carly.
Oh, well, you could be right about that.
Because Carly and Taylor they look very much alike. She's not a twin from your dreams. She's a crook who was caught. And as we know, Carly was not caught, but Carly has connections with Scooter Braun, etc. So
you know what? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now that I think about the rest of that song.
Yeah, but she obviously uses this idea of like a twin as someone who's like very closely aligned with who she is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it made me think of Cowboy Like Me.
Oh, one of my favorites. Here we go.
I've got some tricks up my sleeve. Takes one to know one. You're a cowboy like me.
Yeah. So, not officially a twin, but the idea of a twin.
Yeah. Obviously, like I lost my twin. Like I lost someone who understands me completely and is aligned with me. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Excuse me.
Shall we move to the bridge?
Well, we just had the one more note, which was about waving at the ship.
Waving at the ship.
It's like literally waving goodbye at the spaceship as it leaves you, but also makes you think of the phrase, that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Like, this whole thing, that ship has sailed. It's signed,
we're
sealed,
moving
delivered.
on.
It's gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which we also know is like production wise, like the ship has sailed, like that sonar sound is now gone. Like, which is cool. Okay.
Before we listen to the bridge, I just wanted to point out to listen to the harmonies and Jack's synths and arpeggios. Like the atmosphere of this bridge is just beautiful, and we need to pay attention to that as we listen.
Okay, here we go.
I loved your hostile takeovers, encounters closer and closer. All your indecent exposures. How dare you say that it's? I'll build you a fort on some planet where they can all understand it. How dare you think it's romantic, leaving me safe and stranded? 'Cause fuck it, I was in love. Fuck you if I can't have us.
Oh. those glittery arpeggios and like cosmic, it's so good.
Yeah, for sure. So I loved your hostile takeovers. Hello, Stockholm Syndrome.
Hello. Hostile takeovers does not sound healthy.
No, it doesn't.
No. Also, encounters, closer and closer, is definitely a callback to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which is like this 70s alien film where literally the main character's normal blue-collar life is flipped upside down because he makes contact with intelligent life.
It's from the 70s?
I think so. Oh,
1977.
Yeah, well, close. Yeah. Also, like, this bridge has so many gems because the next line, all your indecent exposures I was like, indecent, like exposures, like that's someone who's like unpredictable, like contrarian shit is what comes up in my brain.
Right.
Which made me think of this line from Gold Rush.
At dinner parties, I call you out on your contrarian shit. And the coastal town we round around had never seen a love
Yeah. And it made me think of, again, the smallest man who ever lived.
Yep.
And I would have died for your sins. Instead, I just died inside.
Yeah. So in both of these songs, she's talking about her partner being someone who says some like not great things sometimes, that it's like a little embarrassing. Like, maybe let's not say that.
Yeah. But she loved it. Like, she loved the hostile takeover. She loved it all. She was like knee deep. She was down bad. Like, she was down.
Yeah.
Also, I love that. How dare you say that it's, and she doesn't say the word over, because in our brain, we know the word that rhymes is over because it rhymes with closer. But it's like almost so hard for her to admit that it's over that she can't even say it, which is painful. Like, it's terrible. Right. Like, girl.
Yeah, totally. And then I'll build you a fort on some planet reminds us of I hate it here.
I hate it here, so I will go to lunar valleys in my mind. When they found a better planet, only the gentle survived. I dreamed about it in the dark. The night I felt like I might die.
Lunar valleys.
Yeah.
Building a better planet. Also, the night I felt like I might die, I might just die. It would make no difference.
It would make no difference, yeah.
Woo!
Wow. Yeah, she really, I like, until we were like working on this document for today's episode, like,
yeah,
I didn't realize like how many references this song really has to other things.
This is a big like spider web, but this is a central one that calls out to like a bunch of different songs. Like, I would have never thought I Hate It Here is related to this song, but like it is. Like, there are a lot of these little subliminal ties. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, also, okay. How dare you say it's romantic, leaving me safe and stranded. So obviously that's saying whoever the song is about obviously ghosted her and probably thinks that it's this valiant, like, it's the right thing to do, it's for your own good type of like lame excuse to leave her. But it's the opposite of this line from 1989.
Please leave me stranded. It's so romantic.
Please leave me stranded too. How dare you say it's romantic, leaving me safe and stranded? Like, no.
Right. Yeah. How the tables have turned.
That's growth.
True.
That's growth.
Yeah. And then here she says, so fuck you if I can't have us. Instead of fuck it if I can't have him, it's fuck you if I can't have us. Which definitely seems to be pointed to the fandom. Yeah. Like all of us who are like, you shouldn't be with them or whatever. Yep. Yeah, so her being like, again, is like, but daddy, I love him. Where it's like, where she's like, all the wine moms can like fuck off. Yeah. Because it's over, you know? Yep. I also read it though as her turning on him to be like, well, if I can't have us, then fuck you. Yeah. 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 I could see it that way too. Because she says like, she's saying, how dare you think it's romantic leaving me safe and stranded? Yeah. So fuck you if I can't have us. Yeah. So yeah, I can see it going both ways there. Yeah. Also, this is the first time she admits, because fuck it, I was in love. Like, she doesn't mention that in the other choruses. It's, you know, fuck it if I can't have him, you know, like over and over again. But fuck it, I was in love. That's like almost admitting to that person, like, you know, fuck you if I can't have us. Like, I was in love. And it's almost an admission, you know? Yeah, it's like, don't you realize how serious this was and how deeply I felt about you? And you just cast me off. Yeah. Yeah, I could read it as a big middle finger to
the subject of the song, for sure.
Smallest man who ever lived.
Yeah, and his casual romantic liaisons.
Oh my God.
Cringe. All right, last chorus. Here we go.
Now I'm down bad crying at the gym. Everything comes out, teenage petulance. Fuck it if I can't have him. I might just die, it would make no difference. Down bad, waking up in blood. Staring at the sky, come back and pick me up. Fuck it if I can't have us. I might just not get up, I might stay down bad. Like I lost my twin. Fuck it if I can't have him. Down bad, waving at the shit. Fuck it if I can't have him. Like I lost my twin. Fuck it if I can't have him. Down bad, waving at the shit. Fuck it if I can't have him.
Yeah, it's such like a classic Taylor way of after the bridge embellishing the song. So it's like you get to the bridge and then you come back to the chorus or whatever it is, and it feels bigger than it did before as like the climax of the song.
Yeah.
She's really good at doing that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This song definitely, like, I'm sure Jack was super stoked with the, like, ability to just make weird alien sounds. Like, but he does, you wrote down, like, the atmospheric quality of the bridge. Like, he went off on the spacey atmospheric production. But yeah, I mentioned that, like, the beginning reminds me of Sonar. There's, like, this celestial, like, like, in between the verses. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you said the heavenly little arpeggios in the bridge sound like cloud of sparkling dust.
Yeah.
Which is one of the early lyrics.
Yeah.
And it does sound like that.
Yeah. I also, in listening to this, I love, like, because we do all these notes to, like, prepare, but, like, when I listen, I'm like, oh, I never noticed that. I noticed that there's a lower octave on certain parts of her voice. There's that robotic layer underneath her voice sometimes, but there's also a lower octave in some of them. It almost, like, accentuates, like, the seriousness of some of them. So, like, let me think of one. For a moment, I was heaven struck. Like, that line that before it goes to the chorus, or for a moment, I knew cosmic love. There's, like, this gravity of, like, this lower octave below everything that's happening that, like, kind of sends her back down into the reality plane from I'm up here in this celestial alien town to, like, lowering an octave, and then eventually I'm down bad crying at the gym back in reality.
Yeah.
So I just love all that stuff.
Yeah. And the chorus is much lower than the verses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, the verses are kind of, like, lofty and floating up in her higher register. And then we get down to the chorus. It's like, down back crying at the gym.
She literally goes from her head voice to her chest voice, which is, like, another symbolic reference of being up in the clouds to reality. Like, it's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wrote that this song, like, it feels like a bop, right? Like, if you can just kind of space out and, like, vibe to it. It's like, oh, it's just like a poppy Taylor song. Like, if you don't want to get into it the way that we just did, right? But it's, like, truly beautiful in a sneaky way. Like, for a while there, the isolated vocal stems were floating around, like, I think it's from the bridge, which I like. Now, that's why I said, like, pay attention to these harmonies in the bridge, because it's so beautiful. Yeah. So it's kind of, like, sneaky in that way. And I was also thinking how it kind of has a little bit of, like, an 80s, 90s soft rock vibe to it, which is funny because it feels like a very contemporary, of the moment song. But I have a feeling it's going to be one of those songs that, like, you know, the songs that we grew up with that were very popular when we were, like, teens, but now they're being played at, like, the grocery store, and you're like, wait a minute, are we old people now?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right? And I feel like this could be one of those songs that ends up being played at the grocery store.
Yeah,
like probably the clean version.
Yeah. No,
but yeah, there's something very digestible about it.
Like, you know, like the mom songs, like your mom would put on the radio and your mom would be like jamming out to like Leanne Rimes or like something
like Celine Dion.
Yeah, or like Carole King or like something where you're like, this is for moms.
Right.
This is going to be one of ours.
Like Billy Joel.
Right. Right. You're going to be like, Mom, I get it. Like, yeah. Okay. Like this will be us with this song. And you also mentioned like the Guilty as Sin also has this quality.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's like the tempo or just like the tone, but like it has that sort of like, sauntering into the grocery store. I'm pumping my gas. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but right now it's like, ooh, it's like one of Taylor's new songs and it's about being abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
But it's like 10 years from now, they're just going to be playing it at the grocery store.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, though. Like, this is not a dig on it. It's just funny to think about.
It has that quality. Yeah. It has that quality. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, talking about this song on the tour, I think it's stunning on the tour. Like, that is one that I would die to see in person because the lighting of, they have this alien spaceship on the back, big screen. And then they obviously have like an enormous spotlight that just follows her around on the floor when she's on her little Roomba. And it truly is cinematic. Like, it is so beautiful because she's almost like silhouetted by it.
And the photos that the photographers get of this are incredible.
Yeah.
Also, it's way too short on the Eras tour. Okay,
it is really short.
This makes me truly upset because, as we've mentioned, we're not huge fans of Fortnight. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
It's fine.
But Down Bad is way better.
Yeah.
And it is really cool the way she transitions from Down Bad into Fortnight.
Yeah.
I do love that moment. But then we get like the entirety of Fortnight when it should have been flipped. We should have had more Down Bad.
Yeah.
And then a shortened version of Fortnight.
100%. 100%.
So that upsets me.
Yeah. I don't need every night people to be like, oh my God, Post Malone's here. He's not. He's not.
No.
Okay.
It's just Jan.
It's just Jan.
Yeah.
Also, like the Roomba, there's a lot of like theorists out there that are saying the Roomba makes an infinity symbol, which is like another callback to the Man music video wall, where people are saying like, oh, like she's going to follow this order for the re-records, which I don't necessarily think is happening, but I do think the infinity symbol is like a choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also like we've talked about the Roomba, but like the Roomba is iconic. Like, how can we not love that?
Right. It is iconic.
It is so iconic. Okay. My favorite lyric is Nothing Crazy. Mm-hmm. It's just real, and it's the one that stays in my head. So this is my favorite lyric.
Now I'm down bad crying at the gym.
Period.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
It's so real. Like, she's just like us.
She is just like us.
Publicly crying.
Yeah. Also, that is true. This song absolutely will get stuck in your head.
That part.
It's a Taylor Voodoo song for sure. Like, you can hear the song one time.
Yep.
And then, like I said, you can immediately sing it when you're done.
I remember this was the one that actually stayed in my head the first out of all the songs. Now I'm down bad crying at the gym. That's it.
Yep.
Like, absolutely. I didn't know any other lines, but that was the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to give your rating?
I'm giving this a 7.2 out of 10. It's
Classic
a bop.
Laura, arbitrary decimal points.
It's not a 7.5. It's not a 7.8. It's a 7.2. Okay. So I think it's a classic depressed bop. I love that Taylor does those so well. And I think the symbolism and the metaphor is really cool. I think Jack had a lot of fun on production, but ultimately I don't feel like this is one of, I'm a lyric girly, as most Swifties are, but There's nothing in this song that really is like poignant or for me, nothing that like sticks to my core or speaks to something that like I think is worth for centuries for us to talk about. So, but I do think this is a certified bop, and I'm so happy that it's on TTPD. So,
yeah, I mean, as always, this is graded on a Taylor curve.
100%.
You know, 7.2 is still pretty high.
Yeah, it is.
So,
yeah. What's your favorite lyric?
Well, why don't you play it for us?
Okay.
How dare you think it's romantic, leaving me safe and stranded.
Yeah, honestly, it was really hard for me to pick a favorite lyric in this song. And I think that's kind of like what you were saying. Like, none of these lyrics are like that gut punchy the way other ones are, other songs.
Yeah.
But this might be my favorite little section of the song. Like with the harmonies and just, I don't know, there's something about this little section of the song that, you know, it like scratches my brain in a certain way. Yeah. And I also think it is like an interesting like idea that she's having here about like, how dare you think it's romantic leaving me safe and stranded. And I think that that is a bit of a relatable lyric as well.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, so you're breaking up with me for my own sake? Like, gee, thanks. You know?
Wow. You're such a hero.
Right. Yeah. And I did give this a 7.5 out of 10. Because, yeah, I'm basically on the same page as you where, like, I love it. It is a bop. I'm not going to skip this song. It is one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. Like for me, it's in the top half of the full anthology album. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't hit me personally in the way that other songs do. So that's why it's a little bit lower.
Yeah. It's almost a glitter gel pen song, but with, it's a glitter gel pen rising.
Oh, I would say...
Wait, flip it.
Glitter gel pen sun with a fountain pen rising.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. All right. Yeah. So this song as a recipe was really fun. I immediately knew what I was going to do. This song to me is Milky Way Midnights. Okay?
It's such a good choice.
Like... First of all, it looks like the TTPD set. It's this black and white and this purpley, like, celestial black cake. If you've never heard of a Milky Way Midnight, it's basically a dark chocolate Milky Way. And honestly, flavor-wise, very mid.
True.
But in appearance, it's a Milky Way Midnight.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I had such a hard time picking a recipe for this one. Like, I almost was like... I'm just going to co-sign on Laura's because that's such a good one.
Yeah.
But then I'm glad I did a little bit of Googling because I found these cupcakes, which we'll link to.
Yeah.
They're called Galaxy Cupcakes. The website is thescranline.com. But these cupcakes are, well, they're beautiful. And to me, like in my mind, this is what this song looks like. Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's a vanilla cupcake that has been dyed like a teal blue, but then the frosting is this like ombre galaxy frosting. So it's like pink and blue and purple all like swirled together. And then they have like sparkly star sprinkles on it.
It's a really pretty cupcake.
Yes. So yeah, I think you guys should all check that out. And if we were doing like a TTPD party, I would definitely make these and call them like down bad cupcakes.
Oh yeah. That would be fun. We should do that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of celestial things relating to your cupcake, we have to just quickly share our thoughts about like all these like celestial star alien themed things that she's been wearing lately. Like almost every single one of her accessories lately has had like some sort of planet or star themed. Like her VMA dress that she changed into had like the aliens on it. Like what's the vibe here? Like, what is that about?
I don't know. Like, some people were theorizing that this could be signaling a music video for Down Bad.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I don't know if I buy that her, like, fashion Easter eggs are about music videos. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the music video is where the Easter eggs are.
Yeah. I
don't think we get Easter eggs about music videos that are on their way. You know what I mean?
I feel like her streetwear, her red carpet wear signals eras, but not music videos, if that makes sense.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I truly don't know.
We shall see.
It's one of our biggest mysteries at the moment.
Yep. And I'm still thinking about that time that she said, that's my favorite Sagittarius right there, about Nicki Minaj. Remember that?
Right.
So
yes.
Hopefully there's a song called Sagittarius on the next album.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Oh boy. Wow,
Should we
guys.
wrap this up?
We got to wrap this up. We have no idea what we're doing next. Do you have any recommendations or songs you'd like for us to do? Let us know.
Please let us know if there is anything you would like us to talk about or a specific song you want us to cover. We can certainly bump things up the order here if we get requests. So
yeah, we're definitely on a TTPD kick because like that's new content for us to unpack. But let us know. It doesn't have to be TTPD if you're dying to talk about something else. So,
like Richard, let us know which song you want us to do next.
Richard, what do you want to know about Swiftie lore?
Yeah,
let us know. We're here for you, Richard.
Yeah.
All right, let's sign ourselves off here, people. All right.
Okay, beam me up, Scotty.
Beam me up. Did you really beam me up? Thank you so much for joining us. And if you'd like to support the pod, give us a follow at Blank Plate Pod on TikTok and Instagram, and give us a follow on YouTube where you can see my amazing choreographed dance that I did today.
You guys definitely have to check that out. And you can also check out our website at blankplatepodcast.com. And please send us an email, like Richard did, at blankplatepod@gmail.com. You can also leave us a voicemail or text us at 717-382-8313.
And until then, we've had the time of our lives with you.
And you know it's time to go. So goodbye.
Bye. Bye.